everyone. Thanks for listening to the SBP podcast, The Voice of Mobile Film. I'm Susie Botello. I'm your host, and this is episode 22. This episode is a little bit different. We actually met with our brand ambassador, Aaron Nabus, from the Hall H Show podcast. And we decided to share some information with you and just talk about the International Mobile Film Festival, which is taking place April 28th and 29th at the Marina Village Conference Center in San Diego. The times are Saturday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Sunday, the time is 11:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we'd love to see you. We have a lot of filmmakers coming out from all over the world. Well, not like every country is being represented, but people coming out from as far as Australia. And we just want to share and celebrate mobile filmmaking with this year's film festival. Hello and welcome to the SBP podcast, The Voice of Mobile Film. I'm your host, Susie Botello, here with our brand ambassador, Aaron Nabus.
Yay!
Yay!
Thank you so much for having me on again.
You bet. Thanks for driving out. We're in Rancho San Diego today, and this is going to be fun. I do want to mention that this podcast is basically all about mobile film and the industry and our International Mobile Film Festival, which is coming out like a movie. I'm coming out to the film festival on April 28th and 29th. It's a weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So no matter where you are in the world, you want to come out, not just because San Diego is beautiful, but also because our theme this year, the actual theme is celebrating the world of mobile film. And there's a few reasons why I picked that as a theme. You know that, right, Aaron? Putting you on the spot here.
Of course.
Before I go anywhere further, I do want to thank a few people who were helping and making this possible. First, Aaron, our brand ambassador, he's been awesome all year helping. I bet you didn't know I was going to do this.
No, I didn't.
But he's been awesome supporting us. And so, we met him a few years ago now, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, 2016, I believe,
2016.
Right? At San Diego Comic-Con.
Wow.
At your panel.
And that's like so far away in the way time goes nowadays.
I know.
But we just made him our brand ambassador when? Like at the beginning of the year or something? No, at the end of...
It was like the end of last year, beginning of this year.
Beginning of this year, actually. Yeah. That's right. Before we go any further for the third time, let me name our sponsors on top of Aaron. I like on top of Old Smoky. Lulu Films, Swords and Circuitry Studios, Red Giant, Black Box, Film Convert, Production Hub, Grip Gear, San Diego Real Estate Veterans.com, and Speed Pro Imaging of San Diego. I have no idea how other people would rattle off like 20 sponsors or something like that. That would be a lot, huh?
Yeah, that would be a lot.
But thank you to all our sponsors because, you mean everything. But our main course, right, for the film festival is the filmmakers from this year. They forgive me, guys, for being such a dork at the beginning of this. I'll warm up in a little bit. I know I sound kind of weird right now.
You need some coffee.
I need something. But yeah, I think the filmmakers that submitted their films, filmmakers who made films overall, are awesome. They really are. But we couldn't accept them all and screen all of them. But we chose a variety of them, and so I'm asking Aaron to name each one of a selection of the filmmakers that are part of the film festivals. They're from different parts of the world. We're not going to name each country because I know the Olympics is going on and everything, and that would just get to be too long. But what do you think, Aaron? You ready?
I will try my best.
All right, go for it.
Officially selected filmmakers for the International Mobile Film Festival 2018. We have Billy Leroy, Jessica Nicole, Anthony Bradley, Edgar Mifsud, Jules Barkowski, Sonic Barometer, Melissa Bratoni, Adrian Jeffs, Seth Dacio, Dimple Davidas, Bilal Tahari, Prakesh Natarajan, Miranda June Mullings, Brian Hennings, Naral Nash, Charles Copeland, and Vilma Kartolska.
Thank you. Yay. Thank you to all of you. So all these filmmakers, not all of them, but quite a big number of them, actually.
That is a lot.
Yeah, a lot of them are actually going to be at the film festival in San Diego.
I'm looking forward to meeting them.
Yeah, and they're looking forward to meeting you because they keep talking about you. Well, not only that, website, social media. If you don't follow us, that's okay. We don't hold anything against you, but you might find us here and there. Actually, there are a couple of these that are coming back. One of them you met last year, Brian Hennings. Mm-hmm. He's coming out from Australia, actually.
That's right.
And he's coming back from last year. I mean, wow. I'm just like, that's awesome. The other one that's coming out from before, you've never met him. That's Prakash. He's coming. He likes to be. His middle name is Gandhi.
Oh yeah, I think I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. So he likes to be called Gandhi. I don't blame him. If my middle name was like, I don't know, Supergirl.
What year was he at the festival?
He was at the film festival in 2015.
Okay.
So he's also coming out. And he's also been on our podcast. There's a new one on our podcast, showing us how to make really awesome travel videos and things like that. He's like he likes to experiment a lot with apps and gear. So those two are going to be there, and then there's a whole fleet of other filmmakers.
Also Miranda
Jolene.
Yeah.
That's right. Miranda was also in our podcast. I'm like, well, she's kind of special because she's so young. From San Diego. She just turned 12 a few months ago. Mm-hmm. So she's also coming. And let me see. Yeah, I think that's it. But we do want to talk about the film festival, just to give you guys the logistics, right? So it's going to be held in San Diego at the Marina Village Conference Center. If you go to our website, actually, and click on MFF and on top on the menu, that's MFF for Mobile Film Festival. You'll find the event page for this year, which has all sorts of information, and there's even a little map, a little map from the big guys Google on there.
So internationalmobilefilmfestival.com.
And
then that's MFF.
Right. Yep, and then MFF. But it's at the Marina Village Conference Center. It's really, I would like to say a hop and a skip away from SeaWorld.
You could swim from the venue to SeaWorld.
It's just down the street. It's just that the way that San Diego is designed, you really should take a car to go there. But it's right there. It's in the vicinity.
The sunsets last year were
nice.
Oh
my God. Yeah. Just like the sunsets are awesome there. It's just so beautiful. Right now, today is St. Patrick's Day. And Aaron is wearing an Atari shirt. There is green on it. It has a green circle.
We'll make it
I'm
green.
wearing a striped green shirt too, just so that we didn't get smacked around on the way in.
By the librarian,
right? Well, there's a bunch of kids here too. But yeah, the St. Patrick's Day. So for all of you who celebrate it, who wouldn't, right? Mm-hmm. And our friends in Ireland.
Are you eating anything Irish later today?
I might. You know what I really want is a green cupcake.
A green cupcake.
With the leprechaun little guy on top. Or maybe the pot of gold would be nice.
That's always nice.
I do want better luck than smashing my toe this morning. It's like, the luck of the Irish. Boom. So it's going to be there. I totally lost you guys already, I'm sure. But it's going to be at the Marina Village Conference Center. April 28th is Saturday. April 29th is Sunday. The hours are basically from 11 a.m. on Saturday until 9 p.m. And on Sunday, it's from 11:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Just to let you know, we got so much stuff going on because we have the film screenings. Then we also have lectures and presentations. We have a mobile film making workshop. We have, of course, our red carpet and award ceremony. Guess who's going to be on our red carpet again this year?
Ooh.
It's going to be Star Wars, Steampunk Universe are coming again.
Nice.
Yeah, with Tracy.
Hot nerd girl.
Hot nerd girl. I always feel awkward when I'm saying that. Hey, hot nerd girl. And Dude Vader.
That's right.
And a few others. They're going to be escorting the filmmakers again this year.
Yeah, I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
So on Saturday, you have the panels, the screening,
the workshop.
The workshop.
Yeah, and we're just like packing so much into our film festival, but we also want to leave room for networking and breaks and, breathers and people eating. There's a little deli restaurant there. I think they even serve soup and burgers and stuff like that there. But they're also there. So we do want people to be able to, eat.
Yeah. You mentioned our special guests on Sunday. Who's our special guest on Saturday?
Yeah. So we met a filmmaker from New York. His name is Brian McLean, and he shot an entire feature-length film with an iPhone. And along with shooting his film, he shot Hollywood film actors. It sounds pretty bad, but
with his iPhone.
With his iPhone.
That's incredible. 90 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's like a 90-minute, maybe 89. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure right now.
89, 90 at this point.
I think he said 89. It's because it's a cool film, and so I started watching it, and I forgot to look at the time on it. It's not like the shorter 5-minute.
We'll have to bring popcorn for that one.
It is so it's so fun. It's like a musical horror kind of. This one's not for kids for the most part, but it doesn't have nudity or anything like that. So it's not like that. But it's a fun film, and guess who's in it?
I already know who's in it.
I know, and probably some of our listeners hopefully know who's in it. So you since you announced the filmmakers, you got that voice.
Well, the special VIP guest speaker is Tim Russ.
Yay!
From Star Trek Voyager.
Voyager,
yeah.
Yep.
He played Tuvok.
Yeah. So as soon as I show people who've never even watched Star Trek, show a photo of him, everybody's like, oh, that guy. Yeah, really? He's coming to your film festival? Yeah, he's going to give a Q&A session which is really cool of him, to come out to San Diego to our little film festival where all the films are shot with just phones,
Right. I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's really cool. So he'll talk, and Brian is going to give a lecture and show everybody the details, on how to get how to get Hollywood actors for your film shot with a phone, and work with the San Diego, everything's San Diego,
SAG.
the Screen Actors Guild. Yeah,
that was a good episode. I think it was episode number 7, right?
Yeah.
I just re-listened to it earlier this week.
Cool.
And it was a really good episode. I encourage our listeners to check it out.
Yeah, that'll be if you listen to that and then come to our film festival. But you don't have to listen to that to come to our film festival.
No.
We'd rather you come and meet the guy and listen to the lecture and meet all the other filmmakers as well. So we're gonna have the film festival. We've got Tim Russ. You are a big fan of Star Trek, aren't you?
I love Star Trek.
Give our listeners a little bit of background on just there might be somebody out there who doesn't know how big Tim Russ is in the Star Trek world.
Oh well, basically, Voyager was a spin-off of the newer Star Trek series. That was started off with Star Trek: The Next Generation. With Jean-Luc Picard and Commander Riker, Geordi LaForge, Data, and all those guys. And then you had Deep Space Nine. And then you had Voyager, and so those were all sort of around the same time period in the 90s and early 2000s. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to meeting Tim Russ and just hearing what he has to say about making the movie with a mobile phone, and also if he can share some anecdotes from his Star Trek days, that would be even more special.
Yeah, I imagine that some people will have to ask that since it's a Q&A, and it's going to be pretty awesome. Speaking of celebrities, I do kind of want to tell you why we're celebrating. I mean, we celebrate it every year, but there's a reason why I picked that for a theme of celebrating mobile filmmaking. I mean, we had our guest for the last podcast, and he started making, Jason Van Genderen. He started making films back in 2008.
Right.
And that just is kind of amazing because it kind of reminds me of like the Y factor, where you've got somebody on one side, really passionate and doing this, on the filmmaking part. And then here I was on the other side, talking about creating a platform for people who were making films on this, which really at the time I couldn't find anyone who did. It was just like, I wish people would, that kind of a thing. And it took basically 10 years he reached out to me, and I was like, when he told me 2008 I made a film, I was like, oh, I didn't even know that anyone was making films, outside of music videos.
Right. I think in that podcast episode, you said you went on YouTube trying to find.
Yeah.
The only thing that you found were music videos.
Yep, I did, and then I also found. I have to say, someday, maybe I'll get to meet the guy who tied the phone to a balloon and shot it up to outer space. Because that one, it wasn't a movie or anything like that, but it really was captivating. I actually held my breath when it went back, up above that layer where it's like, oh, you might as well be in a rocket, But yeah, that's the thing. And then I found Michael Corbell's film I think it was in 2010, 2011. That was the one with the train. It's called The Apple of My Eye. But that was the first real one that I found. But there are films that were shot in 2004 and stuff like that. I think there was one in South Korea or something like that. I can't remember now. That's really famous for being like the first one. And it was very cinematic, believe it or not. But anyways, yeah, that was amazing. Where was I, Aaron?
Well, we just had finished talking about Tim Russ.
Yeah, so it's really cool to have somebody, from Hollywood as an actor in one of the films who's actually attending the film festival.
Maybe next year we'll have Steven Soderbergh.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I was getting to. So a couple years ago, we had this movie called Tangerine, and it really, well, actually, let me even go further than that. Remember when Sugar Man was filmed? It was a film that won an award. I think it was now I don't remember if it was Golden Globe or if it was the Academy Awards, but he won something like that, the filmmaker. Mm-hmm. It was a documentary, and it was musical. It was about a musician that was really big, and he disappeared, and there was a myth going around that he died. And the very last part of the film was actually shot on an iPhone.
Oh, wow.
Well, on a smartphone. This is a long time ago. And that I got a lot of tagging and mentions from that, from friends on social media and emails. It's like, hey, do you hear about this? And it's like so that kind of kicked everything up. And it's like stirring the bottom of the bowl, the soup. Mm-hmm. And so that worked. And then we didn't really hear anything as far as Hollywood or anything like that. We just know that iPhone was really working hard on making these cameras awesome. And then after that, Tangerine came out. And so now everybody was like, up until the end of last year, it was like, Tangerine, Tangerine, Tangerine. It's like, yes, I've heard of Tangerine, and they're still on Netflix, actually, that film, in case any of you want to watch it. And then early this year, Steven Soderbergh comes out and says, hey, from now on, I'm only going to make films using iPhones. And he made that movie, Unsane. I think it's called Unsane. Because I keep thinking, insane, that's insane.
It's insane that Steven Soderbergh made a movie on a mobile device.
You're so good with headlines there. So because of that, and then there's another guy that said basically the same thing. He's going to make a movie. Well, it's actually a documentary. He has a French name, so I'm not even going to go there. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. But he also, right immediately after the awards, the Oscars this year, the news came out about that. So, see, that's building momentum in Hollywood. And we just need better films in Hollywood. So it's like, great, then start making them with mobile phones and open those doors a little wider now and let anybody with a phone who can make a really good film with a really good story, have a real opportunity at fame, and some money too, I'm sure, because, if you're making Hollywood movies, you get a good distribution, you have, you can make enough money, hopefully, to, pay your rent as a filmmaker. So I think that's one of the things that motivated me to, to do that, to say, let's celebrate this, because I think we're really just on the edge now. But it took years, to get here. And we've been celebrating it every year, don't get me wrong, but I just think it's really cool that we have Hollywood just basically publicly saying, and before Hollywood says anything in public, they've been talking about it privately for years,
right.
So it's really big. It's a really big deal. I doubt we're going to see Steven Soderbergh in my film festival, but that doesn't mean...
I'll mention it to him the next time I see him.
I think they would still go to Sundance and things like that. But it kind of sucks because this global community of mobile filmmakers it's bigger than anybody can imagine, and it would be really nice of them to come out and really stir up the inspiration and add more energy to this whole the evolution of mobile filmmaking, which others call the revolution, and like a movement. But it's true. It's been lacking some serious respect, and we're here. This is going to sound random, but if you come to our film festival at the Marina Village Conference Center, there's free parking. I already mentioned we got food, but it's nice to know you have free parking, because a lot of places in San Diego, it's hard to park.
Yeah, you don't need any validation.
Right? So it's got a nice big parking lot. I want to talk about one of the things that we're going to present, because we mentioned Star Wars steampunk universe there. One of my big deals has been for a long time making the it's a little noisy around us, but that's okay. At least we're not in Lestat.
I'm like, we're at a library and it sounds like it's a blender.
Yeah, because they got San Diego libraries. I don't know about other places, but they have like espresso. They have like it's not Starbucks, but it's like a Starbucks wannabe type thing. Right. Probably better for all I know. But yeah, they have. We have this thing. I've had this thing where, like, I'm in San Diego, right? And I've always been a fan of Comic-Con and cosplayers. But they've got these really cool costumes that they wear, usually behind, they're a part of a story, comic book hero or comic book story or something like that, right? And so I just thought it would be really cool for years now that, to get them on board and making movies with their phones. And so when we got the Star Wars steampunk universe out on the red carpet, while we weren't on the red carpet, I was like, don't you guys want to make a movie? Don't you guys want to make a movie? And they made a cool little video, for the film festival, which was awesome. And so this year I decided that's it. I'm going to make an official category for cosplay. So we're going to talk about that during the film festival, because I know people are going to have questions and things like that. And if people want to come dressed up to our film festival, don't be afraid to do it. There's always going to be like one or two people that will do it, and then more people will come. I'm down for cosplayers in our film festival.
Yeah, I can see the applications for shooting movies of cosplayers. There's a really prolific group of videographers. They're based on the UK. They're called Sneaky Zebra. And I think they might be hooked up or have partnered with Nerdist.com. But look up Sneaky Zebra. I'm kind of interested to see if they haven't already, if they have started using mobile devices to record their videos, because that'd be a good little thing to take note of, especially with the increase in technology of the phones.
Yeah, it would make it a lot easier, and you could do all kinds of... Cosplayers are really creative and fun people, so I can only imagine the things that they could do with a phone. I mean, we talk about people putting a phone in a Ziploc and dropping it into a fish aquarium, and things like that, There's a guy who sent me a video of all the different ways that you can, use the camera on your phone for filming. And he actually attached it to a drone. This is back in the day before the drones with the cameras were out. Well, I shouldn't say that, but at least they were more accessible to you and me. And he attached it to a drone, and this guy was in Egypt, and he was filming all kinds of cool stuff, which for some reason where he was in Egypt, it looked like Las Vegas or something. It was like... Well,
there is... a certain part of Las Vegas that looks like...
Well, but I didn't realize it was like the other way around. But he also attached it to a train track.
A train track?
He attached a phone to a train track, right on the track, and then as the train goes over. It's
Yeah.
filming
Oh, wow.
the train going over it. It's kind of like crazy. And yeah, so there's all these things. He attached it to a bike on the fender as well.
Okay.
Not to the handlebar, which you'd go, oh yeah, of course that'd be cool, you know. But no, I'm talking like the fender of the wheel, and just all kinds of stuff. And he didn't tell me that he busted his phone during any of this stuff. He put it in the refrigerator, and then he hit record, shut the door, and then he opens the door, you know, to make it seem like you're getting that kind of a view. Yeah. In regular movies, it's not even a real fridge. There's like a cutout with the lenses. So it's cool. It's cool, all the stuff you can do. So I can just imagine with cosplayers, all the things that they could do with this. And
it still blows my mind that the technology on a smartphone is more advanced than, you know, the capsule and the rocket that went to the moon.
Oh, you know, that's really interesting. You know, the iPhone X, you know, of course I would have to, you know, it's like, do I buy a car or do I buy an iPhone X? It's kind of expensive for the regular
I know, it's
people.
pretty much a laptop or a computer. You know.
Yeah, really it is. And, but, you know, unless you're making payments or you've got some kind of a plan or something like that. But still, it's being compared to a DSLR, you know, camera, which is really, really interesting. I'm sure there are DSLR cameras that are superseding the iPhone X by a long shot, though, you know. But still, that's a reality, how close we're getting to DSLRs.
Sure.
You know, for the phone. As a matter of fact, if I had an iPhone X, anybody out there want to send me one, go for it. Then I would probably just take all the photos during our film festival. Just say, hey, photographers, iPhone X photographers, take all the photos with that.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you mention that because last year I was initially going to take photos with our DSLR, but I kind of thought, this is a festival that's celebrating, you know, the smartphone. So we did all our videos and photos with our smartphones.
Yeah. And, the only reason that we use DSLR photographers is mainly for the red carpet and things like that because, you know, for publicity. But for the most part, it's all on the iPhone. And then, you know, your role this year, too, is going to be a little more expanded, you know, because you're also going to cover a lot of the presentations and the Q&A and everything with your phone for video and photos. And one of the things that we were talking about doing, well, before I go there, you're going to be our media guy, our social media guy. He's going to be on Facebook, you know, updating people and things like that with photos, and we look forward to that.
Should be fun.
Yeah. So for all the filmmakers and people that can't come out, that are following us, and they can't come out to San Diego because, you know, we understand. You know, it's a trip, you know, and we've got friends all over the world, so it's not like just anybody can come out here. So for them, we'll do our best to share, you know, what we can on social media, mainly on Facebook, probably some on Instagram through probably your account, right? And we'll try to hit Twitter a few times as well. But I would say on our Facebook page at Mobile, MOBIL Film Festival, you can catch everything. So you might want to, I don't like to tell people what to do, but you might want to like it and then follow it at the same time to make sure that you get the updates on your timeline. Instead of having to just kind of casually go over there and say, hey, what's going on? But we've been talking a little bit about also a podcast, a really unique podcast. Right, Aaron?
Ooh.
During the...
You've piqued my interest.
Yeah. Well, no, we planned this already on Sunday after the awards. So we're going to have... Here, I'm trying to give you a... You forgot? So we're going to have a podcast with all the filmmakers and VIPs and the award winners, hopefully.
Sort of a wrap up.
Yeah. At the film festival venue with everyone. And so we'll try and put that out like super fast right after the event.
I'm not even going to sleep.
You're not even, you know what? I've had people, because I'm all over this for, I'm actually all over it throughout the year, but the last few weeks before, I really don't sleep hardly at all, and I'm just all over this stuff. There's a lot of work to be done. And people say, oh, now you can rest, on Sunday, Sunday night after. I'm like, are you kidding? I mean, there's so much to be done after this, not only with the promotions, but now I got to get to all the filmmakers that couldn't come. And there's always people who win awards who weren't here, got to notify them. And then, put out the social media posts. And these are the winners, There's so much to be done, not to mention all the other stuff, like, got to give the red carpet back and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot to be done, and even for weeks. And then we open submissions again in June, probably the 19th, just to keep it consistent. So, April, May, June 19th, we're open for submissions again.
And so when do the submissions end?
They end usually in November.
Okay.
I think it's either October or November that they end. We're going to get ready to update our rules just to add a few more details to them. But we're going to, we're going to start accepting cosplay films, feature-length films, 40 to 80 minutes. And then, but we're only going to select 3, if any, feature-length films.
We might need an extra day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right. And the other thing is the short films are like 1 to 5 minutes, and yes, they are required to be shot in landscape mode. So for those of you who are wondering, and that's because we want to put them on the big screen, which will, it'll be something good, because if you make it to our film festival, you could probably make it to a bunch of other film festivals too, and that's a good format. So how are we on time, Aaron?
We can go as long as you want.
Well, yeah, but
well, I guess before we wrap it up, seeing as how I met you at a panel at San Diego Comic-Con, I'm kind of curious if you could sort of, tell us a little bit more about the panels that you'll be having at the festival on Saturday.
Well, so we're going to have, Brian McLean is going to be there giving that lecture. I still haven't confirmed another one, so I'm just going to hold off. It's kind of a big one, but I'm holding off on that right now because I don't have confirmation on that one. But then, of course, we have Tim Russ, who's going to have a Q&A with the audience. I'm going to be moderating, a workshop. I do workshops where I teach people how to use their phone, all ages type thing. But during our film festival, they're special because we've got filmmakers that actually made films with their phones, and they come from all over the world. So we give them an opportunity to be a part of that workshop. And so we're going to have that, and we'll bring some gear and some stuff for people to put their hands on, and try out, ask questions for. Then we also are going to have the Q&A panel with all the filmmakers. And that's always really, I don't know. What would you say about that?
Well, it's once you can sort of engage with the filmmakers, I think that's pretty special because you put a face to what they accomplished, what they created, and I think it's amazing, just to hear them talk about their experiences in creating the movies. So, and especially when they come from around the world, just hearing their different perspective on how it is on that side of the globe,
Yeah, no, and I wanted to get from Aaron's point of view. It's really a benefit for attendees, to get that. For the filmmakers themselves, though, they get really energized over that because it's their chance to inspire you, and they get to expose how they made their film, because what you see on the screen. I don't know if you watched Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Would be, I don't know why the Atari and Close Encounters is sort of, but that would be an epic film. You just name any film. Lord of the Rings. All right, that's one of my favorites. That's an epic film, right? But
you have a favorite character?
There's so many. I would say Gandalf, though.
Yeah, Gandalf's cool.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome. I would love to meet him and get some advice. But yeah, Lord of the Rings was, their costumes, there's so much history to what they did and all the little details and everything, but you can't see that in the film, and to know every film out there, even tiny little films, have some sort of a backstory to them, and not only do they work hard to complete a film, but there's so much to be said about what it takes to make a film. And so if you're directing a movie, you're a filmmaker and all that, and you work on it and all this stuff, it just sort of gets lost. And the film, especially for independent filmmakers, it airs. It's not like HBO is going to do a documentary on you or anything like that, right? So the only time they have for really sharing these things is either come to a podcast or something, or directly through a Q&A where people are asking them questions and they're able to answer them. And when you're in person, it's a lot easier to inspire people,
Especially since the most important part of making a movie is the story.
Yeah.
So just hearing how they came up with the story part of the movie is such interesting topic to learn about.
Yeah, and in mobile filmmaking also, because people know that it's a little easier. They don't have a big budget for it and things like that, which can actually add a lot of pressure on a filmmaker. They know sometimes that they can change things on the go, for the most part. And it's kind of cool to hear, well, we set out to do this in this way. There's also a lot of guerrilla filmmaking to this, We set out to do it this way, but we used a tripod. Darn it, we kept getting hassled over at the location because we used a tripod. If you're going to make a film guerrilla style, forget the tripod because that's what gets you. It doesn't matter. You could be using a tripod, just to get your family and to, shoot photos. And all of a sudden, just that tripod is like, boom, you get, security guards. Whoa, what are you doing? Do you have a permit for that? It's like, wow, it's just a tripod, But, it's better not to use a tripod if you're going to do some mobile filmmaking as least as possible. But anyways, there's these stories about, what they had to change, in order to make their movie, considering what their plan was in the beginning. Mm-hmm. We planned to crash an airplane, but that didn't work.
Hopefully you didn't attach your phone to the plane.
Right. You can attach it to the wing. That's actually kind of interesting idea. Well, not a commercial plane, but...
Well, I just had an idea of attaching it to a dog, but...
Well, yeah, that's actually... I think that's been done. I remember seeing some videos, I think with GoPros and things like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, with a mobile phone, there's so much you can do with a mobile phone. Like I mentioned before, the guy that tied it up to a balloon, a helium-filled balloon, obviously, and it just floated up into space. And they used the GPS to find out where it landed, because they left the GPS on, and then you can... Well, on the iPhone anyway. You could do that with Android too. Like locate my iPhone app, find out where your iPhone is, and they found it at the park or something. So lucky.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, you didn't even think about that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, that's great. I attach it up to a balloon and it just goes, and then it'll come down where is it going to land, though?
I guess just as long as you're in the sphere of, GPS, then
Yeah.
it should be okay.
And then, the whole thought of, like, if it lands in the middle of a street and it gets run over by a car, and then, I dropped my phone from, like, my elbow, where my elbow is, down to the floor and hear it shatter. So there's things like that I would worry about. Or it lands in a lake or something. I don't know. So anyways, before I get carried away with all that. The International Mobile Film Festival is happening April 28th and 29th in San Diego. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. We've got, the space is limited, so get your tickets. As a matter of fact, I don't know that I can. If you go to the website, there's something there that says get tickets now. So it's pretty obvious where to go for the link. But you'll want to hurry up and get tickets because they are going to sell out. And we just launched that just a few days ago. This week, actually. We just released the tickets. Catch them while they're landing. So, anything else you'd like to say? Is Alex coming from Hall H?
Yes, my co-host Alex Benedicto on the Hall H Show podcast will be there.
Cool. Awesome. Look forward to seeing him again. I wanted just really quick for all of you. We do have a couple of raffles that we'll be holding during the film festival too. One of them is from Production Hub, and another one is from us. And one of our speakers, once we get that confirmed, may also have a raffle as well. So there's opportunities there as well. I can't think of anything else.
Well, there's one thing I can think of.
Oh, good.
Well, actually, two things.
Oh, good. You're double thinking.
Well, I know you talked about it on your last episode. You touched on it a little bit, but I just love your "Are You Chicken" story.
Oh,
and would you mind sharing it again?
the story. Well, so there's this card that I made. It was our first marketing campaign, and this is this is when we had to actually dare people because no one had heard of this, right? And I made these cards. They had a QR code in the middle. They were just plain white cards, cardboard not boxes, but cards. Mm-hmm. And it said on top, "Are you chicken?" And then it had this code. And then underneath the code, it said, "Or are you human?" And the reason why I said, "Are you human?" was because when I first launched this, and I still do, if you're a human being on this planet, or maybe if you're out there on a shuttle, you can make a movie with your phone because just about all humans have phones, right? And if you're a human being, regardless of age, regardless of where you are in the world, regardless of your income, regardless of anything, you qualify to make a film and put it into our film festival as long as you shot it with a phone. So are you chicken? Or are you human? If you're human, scan the code. Do it, right? So that was all that was on that card. And I wouldn't do what a lot of people do, which is go to coffee shops and put them where all the other cards are or anything like that. What I was doing was I was literally just going all over the place, wherever I would go. And, of course, I'm in San Diego. San Diego County is pretty big. We only have a few million people residing here. Mm-hmm. But I would go from the mountains to the beaches, downtown, and I would drop these cards casually somewhere. I left them at bus stops. I remember there was a trail up in the mountains where I left it sort of leaned up against a tree. I would leave them at grocery stores, mm-hmm. believe it or not, on mm-hmm. some of the shelves, I would leave them. I left some here at this library, actually, in Rancho San Diego. I left it here a few times, just sort of sitting on the bookshelf here where the kids are, just for a kid to find it. And I remember a kid doing the scratch and sniff with the QR code.
Are you serious?
Yeah. They were like, "What do you do with this?" and they would smell it, and I was laughing.
Is it still
when I was
active?
watching. It is.
Oh, wow.
It is, because we have, so our domain is internationalmobilefilmfestival.com. There's another story there. And that was really long when I first got this, So our brand is mobile, International Mobile Film Festival, which is MOBIL, which is perfect because no matter whether you say mobile or whether you say mobile, right, or mobile, right, you're basically saying mobile, right? And then in Spain, my mom's from Spain, so I knew in Spain they call it móvil, right, for the phone. I knew that here we call it mobile with a B, and so it just fit. So that domain that's on that QR code, it takes people right to the website. So it's still active.
Okay.
Because I forward that domain to the new domain. Yeah, it's still active. I mean, I can just tell you all the places where I've left those cards. I can't remember all of them, but yeah. But it was a very subtle thing, and it was a dare. And I suppose there are chickens out there making movies with phones. No, I'm just kidding.
I also want to say congratulations on your podcast, because you only started it. When did you start it again?
Literally the 27th, I think, is when I went public with it.
Yeah, and you're like...
Of October.
Yeah, and you're already in episode in the 20s, I believe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. This one is going to be 22, I think.
Congratulations. Yeah. It's an awesome podcast, and I enjoyed listening to it.
Thank you.
And I also enjoy being a patron on your Patreon account. So I think you should talk about that.
Yeah, okay. See, I don't promote that enough, do I?
You don't.
So basically, actually, by the way, Aaron, there's a video on there where I introduce Patreon, which Aaron, forgot your name, Patreon Aaron, Aaron shot with our phone for that. But let me see. It's just a hard thing, It's like it's you got to pay, But you know what? It's a good idea to become a patron because you help support what I'm doing. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm just now trying to ask for a little help with it, But basically, it's centered around the podcast because the podcast is a natural content creator, and it features a lot of filmmakers in the industry who are capable and more than willing to share how to do their craft, making movies with phones and whatever. And so during, if you donate just $5 a month, right, as a subscriber, you have access to a special exclusive bonus podcast from most of our guests. I won't say every single one. But most of them, we do guarantee at least one, per month. But you get more than one because we do our shows weekly, and yeah. So what else could I say? Just go there. So
I'm a little biased because I support what you're trying to do. Ever since I met you at San Diego Comic-Con, and just the fact that you're promoting a way for people anywhere in the world with a smartphone to tell their story is such an incredible thing. I know this may have been brought up, I think, on the podcast with Anthony, when Miranda was on there. He brought up the story about the guy who attached the phone to the steering wheel because he didn't have a stabilizer. Yeah. So, that just kind of blows my mind each time I think about it,
Yeah, and that was just me telling him to do that. Our friend Cinecell is on Facebook. And, he said, they just don't have those, stores there where he is so that he can just go out and buy a gimbal or anything like that. And I was like, well, you have any junk cars anywhere around there that you can grab a steering wheel, Yeah, I do. And then he really got creative because he also made a tripod out of bamboos, but he sent me pictures for that.
That's incredible.
I do enjoy, I'm very passionate about this, I really am. And so when people want to talk to me about it, I'm more than happy to talk about it. And some people will message me or send me an email or something, and they don't realize that I'm actually going to interact with them. They just sort of, it's like calling random with your eyes closed, hoping that somebody will get back to you. Like our guest from You Are for Africa, she sent an email from Nigeria. They're doing the Nollywood is really, I found out about that through her. And she sent me an email, and she said she had reached out to other people doing this and that she didn't get a response from anybody, but I was the only one that responded. And I'm always thirsty to talk about this. I believe it or not, I eat, drink, and sleep this stuff, and I never get enough of it. I still go on YouTube sometimes and just kind of look and see what there is out there, or Vimeo, or even just do a Google search on this stuff. I can't get enough of it, But creating the platform, though, for the people was my way to say, I really think you should do this because you're going to succeed and there's going to be a place for this. But creating the platform with the big screen and the red carpet was my way of saying, and you get the respect that you deserve, because, again, it's about the story. It's not about the size of the camera or your budget.
I mean, with that said, I'm so looking forward to the International Mobile Film Festival, and hopefully, who do you think the next Hollywood director is gonna be to start using a smartphone?
Interesting question. You know what? I don't know, but for some reason, I would think Tom Cruise. People from Hollywood doing it, it really inspires everybody else to do it. That's the main thing, why I would say, oh, so-and-so should do it. But I don't know. Tom Cruise, a while back, there was the Tom Cruise blog that did a story on mobile filmmaking. And he did it on one of our, Ruben Kasantsev. He's the iPhone Film Festival in L.A., He's that founder, and he's also a filmmaker. And he made, I think it was like a half hour, maybe, long film. And it had the police and, like SWAT teams and all kinds of stuff in it. And he shot it in, I think it was like 3 different countries.
Wow.
Yeah, and Adi Spector is he's one of our friends. He made a couple of films and came to our film festival twice. We presented, actually, that film in 2016 in our film festival. And Tom Cruise did a featured article on that and mobile filmmaking. So I just thought, it's about time for him to make a movie with a phone.
Maybe they'll film the sequel to Top Gun on a smartphone.
Keanu Reeves, though, he's that would be amazing.
I can see him sort of,
Yeah. So
experimenting
Keanu, call
with
me. I think he would, because I know he puts a lot of thought into it. I could just imagine, how creative he could be making an independent film, as a Hollywood celebrity.
I'm surprised Robert Rodriguez hasn't, unless I haven't heard about it yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it either. There's so many. Maybe Tim Russ will make he makes movies too, He's a filmmaker too. So maybe instead of acting in one, he can, direct one.
Right.
Maybe that'll be the question you can ask him during the Q&A. There's so many people that I could just, name off that I might as well just say it's like anyone in Hollywood. You never know who might come up with who might be the next Hollywood filmmaker to say it. But there's a momentum going. So, it's kind of like that Me Too movement. You get one person saying it, then another, and they they inspire others to come forward and say, you know what, me too. Like, didn't mean to say it like that, but yes, I will too.
I guess we can start closing out the show.
Cool.
Do you want to sort of give out your social media, website?
Yeah. So, again, internationalmobilefilmfestival.com for our website. Then we have our Facebook page, Mobile, M-O-B-I-L, Film Festival. On Instagram and Twitter, we're also at Mobile Film SD. And let's see, what else is there? Really, I mean, there's a lot that I'm all over the place. But
you're on BB as well?
Yeah. Well, that one is just Susan Botello.
Okay.
My Twitter, if you want to follow me, is SUSY Susie Botello, Botello. See, that just seems so long to spell out, but that is my name. So you can also follow Aaron.
I am the co-host of the Holly Show podcast. So you can either go to hall-h.com or just look up Hall H Show on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, or Spotify, or just go on Google and just look for. Since this podcast is the voice of mobile movies,
mobile film,
my podcast is the voice of independent creators. So just
Google
that.
Where you got the idea from.
So there's a connection there in our spirit of promoting creativity. Cool. Well, thank you for having me on the show again, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you for all you do, Aaron, and can't wait to go and celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
Let's go. I'll get the first round.
All right.